Hey guys, Sean Phillips here in that brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Taking a go out today, see if things came out, see if things are on sale. I know today though the big release that comes out is Aquaman. I know there's a number of different retail exclusives of that one. I believe Target has a digibook of that, as well as Best Buy has a steelbook. I don't know for sure, if Walmart has any exclusive editions of that one though. Also though, if Beale Street Could Talk releases today, Pet Sematary on 4K comes out. So there's a bunch of other things as well though. Also though, the end of this video, going to have a whole bunch of brand new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys. Some really cool stuff, some things from Arrow Video, some Shout Factory, Scream Factory titles, Bumblebee 4K, that one releases next Tuesday, as well as a bunch of other things as well. And as always, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the DVDs and Blu-rays that are reviewed at the end of this video. What you guys thought of the films, if you guys have seen them, and if you guys plan on picking up any of those ones. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today.
Into Target we go.
And this past weekend, the only movie that I saw in theaters was Us, which I really love the film. But if you guys have not seen it though, I have a parody and review up for the movie, so definitely check that out. I'll put a link below for that one. But even if you guys aren't interested in the review itself, just check it out for the parody, because I feel like it turned out really pretty crazy. And I sort of love to hear what you guys think. Like I said, if you haven't seen it yet, check out the link below for that one.
And in here today though, they have out all the new stuff today, so that's really good. And here though, their exclusive of Aquaman is this really super thick digibook, which has a lenticular cover here. It's a really cool lenticular cover on this one. The 4K edition here is $36.99 and includes a 64-page book excerpt in this one. And then it's going to be $32.99 for the Blu-ray Target exclusive here. And then it's $29.99 for the 4K edition, the standard 4K, $24.99 for the Blu-ray, and $17.99 for the DVD. And all of them have different covers on all the different releases. And then also Second Act, the Jennifer Lopez movie, came out today. That one's $22.99 and then $19.99 for the DVD. And also over here they did get in Pet Sematary. So the new Blu-ray release of that one is $11.99, and then it's $22.99 for the 4K edition. And FYE is going to have an exclusive Blu-ray steelbook of this one. I'm going to be showing that one at the end of this video. And then Best Buy is having the exclusive 4K steelbook, so hopefully they have that one to show when I get over to Best Buy. But yeah, cool though, all the new stuff is out on the shelf today. Also in here today, I believe this released, the Kim Possible movie, the live action movie. That one's $19.99. I believe this one's only available though on DVD. Into Walmart we go. But in here though, their exclusive edition here of Aquaman comes with a Funko Pop Pocket of Aquaman, and that one is $29.99, and that is the DVD Blu-ray combo edition of that one. That is $29.99 for the 4K of that. The standard edition Blu-ray is $24.99, and their DVD is $16.96, and that one has a different cover than the Target one was. Other than that though, this one here, this MFKZ, I don't know anything about this. If you guys have seen this though, let me know how this one was. It's a rated R animated film. I don't know anything about this one. If you guys, like I said, if you guys have seen this one, let me know how that one was. Other than that though, they have Second Act in here. That one's $19.96 for that. And then this thing here, they have this like My Hero Academia, Two Heroes. It has an exclusive lenticular cover on that one. That one's $19.96, and they have Pet Sematary here as well. The 4K here is a little cheaper, it looks like. That one's $19.99 for the 4K. And it's like $1 more though for the Blu-ray of that one. Also, King of Thieves came out today, $14.96 for the Blu-ray. I reviewed this one a week or so back. I actually like this one. This was a pretty cool like heist type film. It's based on a true story. Other than that though, I don't think I see anything else different over here today though. Into the pawn shop we go.
So we're going to take a look and see what's in here today. They have a sale going on here, which is buy one, get one free for the DVDs. I think the DVDs, I believe they were all $1. They definitely seem like they're getting rid of the DVDs though, because last time around they had a whole bunch more. Wasn't too much in there today. But like I said, just looking through here, seeing if I can find anything out of print, Blu-ray wise. There are a couple obscure things I was seeing in here today. Like they were all ones that I had. They had like some of the Echo Bridge collections. I believe this Event Horizon one is out of print. print. I'm not sure if it's back out again, but I think at one point it was a little harder to find. But like there's some of the Echo Bridge collections. Last time I was in here, they had a bunch more of them, but they had like, I think the movie Below and Darkness, and I think they also had the movie The Hole and a couple other ones. But like I said, last time they had a whole bunch more. And there was a lot of common things in here, but a couple different things in here, but nothing. I believe this one here was out of print as well. Like I said, just looking through all this stuff and seeing what's in here today. Yeah, so I looked through all the stuff in there, and I only found one thing, but I'm actually glad I only found one thing, because usually, like, the Blu-rays in there are always $2, because I remember last time I was in there, I bought one of the seasons of the X-Files for only $2 on Blu-ray, and I was like, what a great price, and I realized I should have probably bought all the seasons, because they had all of them. They weren't there anymore. But I got one thing that I only have this on DVD, and I always wanted to upgrade this, and you never see this on Blu-ray in person anywhere. I've seen it at like FYE a number of times, but it's like a used copy that's loose in the case, like the disc is loose in there, and it's one of the Brittany Murphy movies that I don't have on Blu-ray, and that's Don't Say a Word. This is one that I wanted to watch again as well, but yeah, this was $3. They originally said $4, and I was like, oh, normally they're $2, and they're like, all right, we'll give it to you for $3. But yeah, it was funny how the prices were up in there, and they didn't have as much. The DVDs though were like buy one get one free, so they hardly had any DVDs left in there. I doubt I'll go back in there too much. I used to really like that place though, because, like 2 years ago, I found some of the most amazing out-of-print stuff I ever found. Like the best out-of-print thing I ever found was in that store, and it was the Keanu Reeves film Prince of Pennsylvania, which I've never seen that one again anywhere else, and it's like sells for like $80, $90. It was only $1 in there. I found Under Wraps in there. I found a couple other things as well, but yeah, it's just too bad you go back 2 years, they had an entire like whole wall, big bookshelf and everything of movies, and now it's just this little small section left, and the Blu-ray prices, like I said, have gone up, but at least I found one thing in there, and like I said, it was something that I never see this, the Blu-ray, you see the DVD a lot, but you never see the Blu-ray very much at all. Into the quality resale store we go. Yeah, so it's been a couple weeks or so since I've been in here. I think they changed the prices on these now too, because I think it was like, I don't know if it was $4 for $9.99 that passed or not, but they're $2.99 each for the DVDs in here. And I have found a lot of interesting TV shows in here in the past, like some decent TV sets. And here it doesn't look like they have too many different ones in here today, but I found some decent ones. This is one of the old original like first releases of Misery when this one first came out. I think this was like when was this one released, this DVD one here? 1998. Yeah, so this is one of the very, very early DVDs, so that's interesting to see in here. You never see that edition of that anywhere, but like I said, gonna look through all this and see if I can find anything different here today. A lot of these ones have like are kind of sun washed out. This movie was always okay. I have this one though, this like Father Like Son Dudley Moore movie, but we'll see if we can find anything in here different today. And I remember there was one like out of print thing in here that I missed buying the one time, and I always like regretted it. It was like a movie that was kind of like a Hills Have Eyes type movie, and then like I found out later it's like something you can't get for less than like $70 or something like that, and I never remember what the name of it was. It was like some sort of Hills Have Eyes type movie, and I remember when I was in here someone was like, oh, I can't believe you missed getting that, and I always regret, and again, I've never seen that again anywhere else, the movie, and I think it was like Canyons or Canyon or something like that, something around that title. This is one movie that I keep on hoping that I have to cover over someone has their address on here, but I always keep hoping this one gets a Blu-ray release sometime. I cannot believe this one never has, and I know this always has this really different ending to it, and I always would love to see that alternate ending to this movie. Like, hopefully if they ever put this out on Blu-ray or anything, they, if Shout Factory, somebody releases that, they put out that alternate ending, because I'm pretty sure it was actually shot, but it's never been seen anywhere, and it's one of those things I always really wanted to see it, because it was such a drastic, different ending on it. This is some weird thing, like sport fishing thing from Ford. That's really odd. Into Best Buy we go.
And in here, though, their Aquaman is $29.99 for the exclusive steelbook of that one. It's a cool, like, animated style image for this one. And then they also have in here exclusive as well the 3D version of Aquaman. That one's $29.99 for the 3D edition of that one, and then $24.99 for the standard Blu-ray, and then $19.99 for the DVD of that one. And they have in here, if Beale Street Could Talk here, this one's $19.99. This is the first place I've seen this one in person today, at least I wasn't noticing in the other spots. And it's $19.99 here for the standard 4K of Pet Sematary. And this is their exclusive steelbook of Pet Sematary here, the 4K exclusive steelbook. That one's $25.99 for that one here.
So anyway though guys, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also in the comments below, let me know, what you guys picked up on DVD or Blu-ray today. If you guys picked up anything today. Also let me know as well what you guys thought of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I'm reviewing at the end of this video. But anyway though guys, now stay tuned for the brand new reviews.
Now before we get to the reviews, I want to show you guys this really cool FY exclusive Mondo Steelbook. This one's only available at FYE. They sent this over to show you guys the Pet Sematary Mondo Steelbook here, which includes the Blu-ray, the DVD, and a digital copy of the movie. But this is so cool. I love this one here. It also includes in here a mini poster for the movie as well, but I'll show you guys a little look at the steelbook. But like I said, this is such a cool image on this one. Here's a look though at the side, a look here at the back of the Indian burial ground here, and then inside, like I said, you get the original theatrical poster in this, which is so cool that this was included. This is the original image. I remember this was on the original, I believe, VHS tape back in the day. But this is a great image here. And then inside of here, though, it has, like I said, the digital copy, and a look inside, and has the DVD as well as the Blu-ray in this one. Like I said, only available at FYE, so it's such a cool release. But just like I said, wanted you guys know that this one was available.
And the first one I got here is from Arrow Video. It's a movie directed by Takashi Miike, who directed Audition, which Arrow Video recently released that one on Blu-ray as well. A great movie. If you guys have not seen that one, definitely a must-watch. This is a movie here called Terra Formars. This is essentially, though, a futuristic movie, and it was like 500 years before, because like they knew the world was kind of getting to the point where people weren't going to be able to live on Earth anymore because it was getting kind of uninhabitable. So they sent these cockroaches to Mars to kind of prepare the planet, and hopefully that would kind of make it so people could live there. And then they're now, 500 years later, after they sent these cockroaches there, sending these group of these people there to try and, exterminate them and figure out how they're going to get rid of them. But essentially, though, when they get there, they find out, though, that these cockroaches has mutated and grown into these gigantic kind of creatures that have weapons and are kind of essentially, going after them. And it's about the people there trying to figure out how they're going to, survive and get rid of these cockroaches, they've mutated if they can. The movie kind of has the vibe a little bit of like a Starship Troopers kind of vibe, mixed with kind of like the look, like the futuristic look kind of has like a Hunger Games kind of vibe to it. It was definitely a very different kind of movie for the director that I haven't really seen him do a film like this before. It has on here, though, a full-length, feature-length documentary on here in the film's production, which has, a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes cast and crew interviews and some behind-the-scenes footage, throughout the production of the movie and all the behind-the-scenes, like, effects work and everything. Because, like I said, there's a lot of effects work in this movie. Also has on here some more interviews as well. It has an image gallery, theatrical and teaser trailers on this one, as well as outtakes. Also, there's a booklet in here which has some behind-the-scenes pictures and the production and all that kind of stuff in here. Like I said, it's all like a lot of green screen work and stuff like that, the way it was all put together. And here's like these gigantic creatures here. It was actually a really fun, like I said, if you guys like Starship Troopers, it has that sort of vibe to it a little bit. The next one here is from Shout Factory, Scream Factory line. It's a movie here called The Witches. This is about this woman who was a teacher in Africa, and she ended up getting scared off because these people kind of came in doing these kind of voodoo stuff in her classroom, and she ended up leaving and kind of like abruptly left this school, and she ends up getting called in to hopefully get another job teaching, and she gets called in by this man who she thinks is a priest, and she finds out very early on in the beginning of the movie that he's not, and he's like kind of odd what's going on with him. But she gets called in to be the teacher of this school. And essentially, though, she ends up getting to this town, and it's this real small town that she goes to. And immediately, though, she starts noticing that the people there are really odd acting. So that the way people are acting, there's some really weird stuff going on. And, of course, she went from one situation that was dealing with voodoo, and now she's getting to somewhere that's dealing with, that she believes is some kind of witch stuff going on with witches. And there was some very, very creepy kind of stuff in here, because, like, there's this one kid that's, like, trying to date this one girl, and the people in there don't like like it. This is going on, and like something ends up happening to him, and she finds this doll that looks like him that the girlfriend gave to him, the boyfriend. It has like these pins in it. So it's essentially though her realizing this, and the one other woman in the town, she's starting to kind of like investigate it and trying to figure out exactly what is going on here, and what is if this is something strange, like what, because she's noticing like little by little there's really odd things going on in this town. This definitely has a very, very creepy vibe. This has on here though a new commentary track on here with a filmmaker, the Konstantin Nassar, as well as the author and filmmaker Ted Newson, as well as a theatrical trailer and a still gallery on this one. The next one here is from Shout Factory, Shout Select line. This is a movie here called Born in East LA, which stars, Cheech Marin, from Cheech and Chong. I've always been a fan of Cheech and Chong, and, especially the movies, too, that they did, their solo films, because, they've done lots and lots of movies. They only did a few movies together, but, like, I've always been a fan of both of them. And this is the movie that Cheech Marin actually directed this movie. Tommy Chong, though, doesn't have a part in this movie, but he has, like, a picture cameo that you see, like, quite a few times in this movie. I'm not going to ruin it if you guys have not seen it, but it was a funny cameo the way they did it. But essentially, though, this is about Cheech Marin's character, who's, he gets sent, his family says, oh, your cousin's coming into town, and we need you to pick him up at the factory that he's working at. He's going to come to this factory, and you need to pick him up, and he's never met this guy or anything, but he ends up getting ready to leave, and he accidentally leaves his wallet. Cheech leaves his wallet at the house, and he goes to this factory, and he comes to find out, though, that there's a lot of people there who are illegal immigrants and things, like living, and, they're working at this factory, and, immigration kind of comes in, and they end up arresting and Cheech because he doesn't have his wallet with him, and she's like going, I'm an American citizen, I've lived here my entire life, this is where I was born and everything. They're like, and he ends up getting sent to Mexico, and his family is out of town because they had to leave for the weekend to do something. So it's essentially like him stuck in Mexico, not sure what he's going to do, how he's going to get back, and it's him trying to figure out how he's going to get back and all these kind of problems that are going on. And Daniel Stern is in the movie as well, one of the other main stars of the movie, and he has this kind of sort of like a rundown kind of club, and he's like not really doing great business, and he needs to try and get people to come in and things, and he hires Cheech to basically be the guy who like waves people in and tries to get people in the club, and he says to Daniel Stern's character, I need to figure out a way to get back, and Daniel Stern's like, I can get you back, but you got to get this money. So it's all these kind of problems of him having to work for him and all these sorts of situations and stuff. It is a really, really fun movie. The one thing that's cool about this, though, is it includes on here one of the features. It includes the extended television cut of the film, which has like a really drastic, like the last, it's like 20 minutes longer ending that's really extended. So this is the cut that would, is one of the features that would air on TV. So it has like the TV edits and everything, but it's kind of cool that they included that. That's one thing that I wish more releases had. When it comes to like TV cuts, let me know in the comments below like what TV cuts you guys can remember that you liked, that they had like certain things that were added. Like I always think of when it comes to TV cuts, one movie I would love to finally come to Blu-ray and also have a feature be the TV cut is Summer Rental, because it has all this different stuff with this dog chewing on the leg of this chair, the whole extended opening of them getting to the the beach house they go to. But I don't know, I think that's a really cool thing that they included on here, but it also has on here a brand new commentary track on here with Cheech, as well as a film historian, Mark Edward, on this one, as well as new interviews on here with Cheech Marin and Paul Rodriguez and Camila Lopez. Paul Rodriguez plays the cousin that comes into, that Cheech goes to pick up. So there's all this kind of funny stuff going on too, with him getting back to the house while Cheech is in Mexico, and he's like no help because he doesn't speak any English, so he can't help Cheech, his character get back. It's a really, really fun movie. If you guys have never seen this movie, 100% one you guys have got to check this one out. The next one here is from Lionsgate, and this is Hellboy. This is the 2 animated features that were released. These came out originally in 2006 and 2007, and these are the characters and the same actors that were in the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy films, which I really love those movies. I need to go back and watch those ones again. But the new Hellboy movie is coming out, in I think like a month or so, which I can't wait to see that one. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. It's really cool what that is. It's going to be rated R, which is it's going to be really interesting to see Hellboy, that character, in an R-rated form. But this is the 4K Ultra HD edition here of the 2 animated Hellboy films. The first one was Sword of Storms, and then it's Blood and Iron. And if you guys don't know the Hellboy character. He's essentially, though, you know, this demon who he's like going, he's like, but he's a good demon who's working like with the government essentially, and he's going and working with this paranormal investigation team, and it's kind of him going and like solving kind of paranormal crimes and kind of weird things that are going on, but he has his own sort of sense of humor, and he's kind of like, you know, sort of curmudgeon-y a little bit, not always in the greatest mood and everything. And it was originally based on the Hellboy series, was based on a graphic novel, so it really works well in an animated form. These are actually really, really fun animated films. If you guys have not seen these ones, these are ones I would definitely recommend you guys check out. On these ones though, now the 4K one includes the movie and the special features, and then the Blu-ray disc just includes the 2 movies. But feature-wise, though, this has a bunch of different featurettes on the production of these. It has commentary tracks on here with the creator of the Hellboy series, as well as the producers on these ones. But, you know, if you, like I said, if you guys have not seen these ones, definitely worth checking out if you guys are a fan of the Hellboy series. And 4K-wise, though, too, these ones look really, really good. Animation, I found, too, always really looks really great on 4K, because the big thing with 4K is the HDR is one big thing to it as well, but it always boosts the color levels, and I feel like the picture all around is just a much, much brighter picture. And, like, also the contrast levels, like I said, there's much more detail in the colors and everything, so definitely, if you guys have 4K capacities, would definitely be worth an upgrade. And the next one I got here is from Paramount. This is the 4K Ultra HD edition here of Bumblebee, which is the prequel Transformers film. I will say that when it comes to Transformers films, I saw like the first film. I thought the first one was a pretty fun movie, but I wasn't a huge fan of the series. I didn't really watch too many of them and like follow them too well. But I feel like even if you guys didn't really watch those films or were not a huge fan of them, this film here though is definitely one I feel like you guys would really like. It's a really different kind of vibe all around, and it's not like as much like really long drawn out like some of the Transformers movies that I saw had like these fight scenes and stuff that would go on for like almost like the last like 30-40 minutes and stuff. This one isn't like that. This is more about the characters and everything. And also I really like the setting of this one. This is set in the 80s. Since it's a prequel film, I also thought Haley Steinfeld did a really good job in this movie. It has, since it's in the 80s, it has like really, really great 80s music and the setting and all the technology and everything. Man, I don't know, I just thought everything around with this was a fun movie. But this is essentially though about the Transformer Bumblebee, who's, you know, hiding from the Decepticons and crashes to Earth and is hiding out in this junkyard, and Haley Steinfeld's character ends up getting a car to fix up at this junkyard, and she comes to find out that it's a Transformer, and you know, she basically though when she's fixing it up, she ends up setting the signal out, and the Decepticons are now looking for Bumblebee and trying to come after him. And it's kind of also about John Cena's character, who's with like the government, and he, you know, is trying to track down this Transformer as well, and it comes into all these kind of problems going on. But it's a really, really fun movie. Like I said, this is one you guys have got to watch. Even if you guys did not follow the other Transformers films, definitely one to watch. It has in here like a comic book as well as included. So it has a comic book inside of this one as well. Also though, feature-wise, this has on here a brand new animated motion comic, Bumblebee's Next Adventure. It has 14 deleted and extended scenes as well as outtakes. So a bunch of different features on this one. 4K-wise though too, this one looks great on 4K. Like I've said too, the big thing you notice with 4K is the HDR, which is the contrast levels and the brightness levels, just a much brighter picture all around. This is also a very, very super visual film, and this really benefits so much in 4K. So if you guys have 4K capacity, must watch in 4K. And the next one here is from Paramount as well. It's the 4K edition here of Pet Sematary, which I was so excited about this one on 4K. And I also will say too, hopefully sometime the sequel, Pet Sematary 2, comes out on Blu-ray or 4K or anything, because I absolutely love that movie. I thought it was a really great sequel. I always love Eddie Furlong. The second one had a little bit more kind of comedic stuff to it, but still I really like the second one a lot. The first movie though is such a creepy movie, and essentially though it's about this family that moves to this new house, and it's set on this gigantic, super scary road where these trucks are driving by real fast. You know, this is also based on Stephen King's novel, but this road where these trucks are driving by super fast, and it's like really kind of very dangerous. And their neighbor is played by Fred Gwynne, and you know, Fred Gwynne is best known for the Munsters, and I always loved Fred Gwynne, and he's like what makes this movie. He is so good in this movie. But essentially though, he's like telling about like tales about how there's this pet cemetery behind the house, but beyond that is an Indian burial ground that believe that people who are buried there will come back to life. But what ends up happening though is the cat ends up getting hit by a car, and the father ends up going out there and burying the cat, and the cat comes back to life. But it's kind of like the beginning of things going horribly wrong, and there's some stuff in this too that always creeps me out, especially this one thing about this creepy, like the wife is talking about how Denise Crosby's character, who plays the wife in the film, talking about this is like when she was a kid, she had to watch this person and had this condition. And I don't know, that stuff always creeped me out. Like the way that's bending her back and everything. That was a really creepy sequence in this movie. But this has on here, though, the 4K edition and the Blu-ray. And both of them are brand new, remasters. So the Blu-ray has a new remaster as well. They look amazing, though. They did such a great job cleaning up this movie. But it has on here, though, some new features as well. It has a new feature on here, which is the cast of the remake, which is coming out soon. Talking about their memories of this film and their take on it. The directors of the remake as well, talking about this movie. Also has a brand new interview with Mary Lambert, who directed the film, looking back at this film. It also has on here, though, a commentary track on here, some new 3 new behind the scenes image galleries on this one, including never before seen storyboards on this one. But definitely, if you guys have 4K, and like I said, there's a that I showed earlier too, the Blu-ray release of this one as well. And that's a brand new transfer as well. And next one I got here is from Fox, and this is If Beale Street Could Talk. This is from director Barry Jenkins, who also directed Moonlight, which is a film that won an Academy Award for Best Picture. If you guys have never watched Moonlight, an absolute must-watch. I thought this movie though was just as good, just as much of an emotional film as well. It's a very, very sad movie. It's also one of the films that had such great performances. Everybody was really good. Regina King won a Best Supporting Actress at the last Academy Awards for this film. She did an amazing job. This is one of those movies, when I was seeing this in theaters, I just knew that she was going to win. I was like, yep, there's no way she could not win for this performance. She was so good in this film. This is essentially, though, about this young couple who are, together, and, and it's kind of like, basically what ends up happening, though, is he ends up getting arrested for something that he totally did not do. It's something that he says, I did not do this. There's no way that I could have done this. And he's been put into prison. It's essentially, though, she also, too, has just found out that she's pregnant. And it's basically, though, about him in prison and her trying to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? How am I going to get him out of prison? And like, it's dealing with her family and then his family. And his family, though, his mother is like really belligerent and terrible and mean, and it's all these kind of family problems, and the whole situation of figuring out too, because of something that he was said that he did, there's a woman that involved, and they're trying to figure out where she is and trying anything they can to figure out how they're going to get him out of prison. And it is just such an emotional, sad movie, but it is just so well done. And I don't know, it's one, like I said, it's one of those movies that you're going to find yourself crying to, and it's like one of those movies that's super, super memorable film. This has on here, though, a commentary track on here with Barry Jenkins, as well as deleted scenes, as well as a featurette on the film, and a gallery on this one. But if you guys have not watched this one, absolutely a must-watch. The next one here is from Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers sent over a free copy of this one for me to let you guys know that this one is available. And this is Clint Eastwood's new film, which he stars in as well, called The Mule, and this is the 4K release of that one. I saw this one in theaters as well, and this is one, I always really like Clint Eastwood films, but I really love them when he acts in them and stars in them, and this is the first movie that he starred in a really, really long time, and this is probably one of my favorites that he's been in years, because I like his character in this movie, and it's essentially his character grows these, he has these plants and things that he kind of goes to trade shows and sells and everything, and at first his business is really thriving, but then because of the internet, people are not, doing things the same way anymore, and he's kind of basically going broke, and he's having family problems, and his one daughter doesn't want to see him anymore, and his granddaughter's getting married, and he's supposed to help out with paying, and he has no money. But essentially, though, when he's at this rehearsal dinner, this one guy who's like at the party says, you know, if you need any money, I can get you a job. You know, you can drive, right? And he's like, yeah, I drive. And he basically, you know, Clint Eastwood's character unknowingly ends up driving drugs and illegal things and, you know, all kinds of stuff across, you know, the border and other places. He basically becomes a drug mule, and it's essentially though all the things that he's going through, and he's starting to finally have money. But it's like the idea that it's this guy who's, you know, in his 80s who is doing this and like being this drug mule and like and he drives real perfectly. He's never had like a, you know, anything on his license, never been like pulled over, never been arrested. That's why they want him to do this, his character to do this. But I really like this movie. But there ends up being some trouble along the way, and he ends up getting into situations, but he doesn't really want to know what he's doing. He just wants to kind of drive the car. That's what they say to him too. Just drive it. Don't ask any questions. Just drive, drop it off, get the money, come back, and, you know, we'll call you and you do it again. But it's finally he's starting to get money doing this, but there's a lot of problems going on. This has on here, though, a making of on here, you know, featurette on the film with, you know, Clint Eastwood talking about the film and everything, as well as Toby Keith's music video on this one. But another one I definitely recommend you guys check out on 4K too. This one looks great on 4K. But like I said, really, really love this movie. The next one here is from Epic Pictures Dread line. I just want to have a link below for their website if you guys are interested in ordering this one. It's a movie here called Book of Monsters. This is a really fun creature film about these monsters and everything. Essentially, though, this one girl when she was young, you know, her mother is reading her this book, which is this real creepy book, like a Necronomicon type book. And she's reading to her from this. But something happens to the mother in the very beginning of this movie. And years later, the father says, you know, it's, you know, for her birthday, I'm going to give you this book. And she gives, you know, he gives his daughter the book that, you know, was read to her. You know, she kind of knows something was happened with this book in the past. She kind of sort of remembers something. And essentially, though, at the party, she's having a birthday party and everyone's over for this party. She ends up, you know, someone there gets this book and starts like reading from it. And she's also doing this weird type of ritual thing, but essentially though they end up calling these creatures up, and it's essentially them all at this party fighting off these creatures, and there's like super over the top crazy gore effects and everything, and like a lot, you know, all practical effects and everything, and great deaths, you know, scenes, and crazy, like I said, over the top gore, crazy creatures, crazy monsters in this one. This has on here though a director and writer commentary track on here, a cast commentary track, opening the Book of Monsters, the making of the film, deleted and alternate scenes, gag reel, short films on here, Fright Fest interviews, so lots and lots of features on this one here. The next one here, I have a link where you guys can order this one for the best price from a website called Movie Zing, and this is from Sony Pictures, and this is the movie here, Stan and Ollie, which stars Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly, and this is the story of Lauren Hardy. And this is during the time, though, when they kind of, you know, years back, they both had this fight because, the character that John C. Reilly plays ended up doing a movie on his own, and that, like, because they kind of broke up at one point and went their own directions, and they had all these kind of disagreements and everything. But this is set in the later years of Lauren Hardy's life when they were getting together again to do this tour, when they were going around, kind of smaller areas, and they were going to lead up to one really big performance. I can't remember exactly the main spot that they were going to, but essentially, though, they have this manager that's kind of booking these tours, and he's booking them in these terrible spots and everything. It's essentially like them kind of together, working together again, and both of them are really planning, Lauren Hardy's characters are planning to try and have their big comeback and get this film made, and they feel like if they do this tour, they go around, that's going to help them get the money together to make this big film that they're trying to do, which would be their huge comeback together and their first film together in years. But it's all about them going around to these places and like kind of discovering too that they have a little bit of a problem working together because of some of the stuff in the past, so they have to get through some of their differences and everything. But I thought both Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly did an amazing job in this film, and I really like this one. This is one of those ones that if you guys have not watched this one, highly recommend you guys watch this movie. even if you guys didn't know too much about Laurel and Hardy, because I didn't know a ton about them. I didn't see a lot of their films. I always knew more about like the Three Stooges, which was like kind of around the same time, a little bit. Sort of like Laurel and Hardy, I think was a little after the Three Stooges started, I believe. But I always knew more about the Three Stooges. But, you know, this one, though, it makes you really want to go and like watch a bunch of Laurel and Hardy, you know, shorts and some of the features that they did. This has on here, though, a cast and crew, a Q&A on here, some featurettes, 3 deleted and extended scenes, as well as a theatrical trailer on this one. But check out the trailer for this one, guys. This one really was good. The next one here is from The Orchard. This is one to get at moviezing.com as well. A movie here called The Unicorn, which stars you know, Lauren Lapkus, as well as Lucy Hale is in this movie. Beck Bennett from SNL is in the movie. And this is basically, though, about this couple who, you know, they're kind of noticing, like, they're kind of, I don't know, things are not going perfect for them anymore. They've been engaged for like years and years, and then he ends up basically like getting re-engaged, and like they tell the one's parents about it, and she's like, the parents are like, well, you were already engaged. What are you engaged again? What did you do? You're ever going to get married? And they find out, though, that she finds out that her mother and her father are kind of swingers, and they kind of see other people, and that's kind of how their marriage is working. So the one night they end up, you know, they're, you know, basically they go up to like Palm Springs area, and they kind of say, oh, for the night, let's be somebody else. Let's kind of like try and spice up our love life and try and like see if we can, you know, do something a little different. And so they kind of go to the club and try and act like they're going to act like they're both Canadian. You know, they have this weird plan that they are, but they end up meeting, though, Lucy Hale's character, and they end up like, you know, convinced that she's into them and wants to have like a three-way, and it's essentially them, you know, what ends up happening with that, and like that becomes their new thing that they want to do, is they both want to have a three-way, and they kind of feel like that's gonna like fix all their problems and everything. This is just a fun, wacky movie here. The next one here is from Movie Zing as well, and this is released from National Geographic, and this is Doomsday Preppers, the complete second season here. This is a show that I forgot about. I remember watching this one when this was originally on. This is basically, though, about people who are all prepping for like the end of the world, and they have like these fallout shelters in their basement, and it kind of like shows what they have, and they kind of talk about how they would survive, and it shows like, oh yeah, I built this gigantic fallout shelter, or I have this room under the house, or I have this like, I have all these supplies, and I can my own vegetables, and I do this, and it's kind of like the people going and showing exactly like their plan, and like, and it talks about like how long they could survive if they, you know, with what they have, and then they sort of, you know, grades them on it, and they're like, oh no, I think I would have a higher rating than that, and I don't know if I agree with that. I really like this show. They released the third season of this one as well. Like I said, I'm glad to see these ones coming to DVD, because this is one that I watched a lot of these ones when these ones were originally on. It's actually a pretty cool show, and you see all kind of like crazy characters and stuff that like show all their collection of things, and you know, talking about what they think will happen and all that kind of stuff. And the next ones here are all from Vinegar Syndrome. The first one here is my favorite of their new releases, and it's a movie here called In the Cold of the Night. This is from the director who did the movie Island of Death, which is a really out there movie. It's like, not, some people kind of love it or don't really like it, but I always thought it was actually kind of a crazy movie. And this one, though, really was like, it kind of has the vibe of like a Brian De Palma film. They even mention Brian De Palma in this film, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Body Double, a little bit that kind of a feel. It's about this guy who is like a fashion photographer, and he's having these dreams all the time of him like, you know, killing this woman in all these different ways, and like they're in these kind of crazy kind of graphics that kind of look like a Sega CD kind of game, like those Sega CD ones where you could like, they were like movie form, and you could like play in them, watch the movie clips and stuff like that, and like choose what they did. It kind of has that sort of look, and he becomes obsessed with this woman that he's seeing in his dreams that he's killing, and he wants to try and track her down. But then all of a sudden he sees, when he's on the beach one day, this guy wearing this shirt that was like a hand painted kind of like spray painted kind of shirt, and it's of the girl that he's seeing in his dreams, and it's about him kind of trying to track her down and find her, and then what ends up happening when he finds her and everything. And it's like all kind of other things going on behind the scenes, and like some kind of like kind of creepy, kind of weird stuff. But the thing that's interesting though is it kind of takes like a different turn like halfway into the movie, and it's not as much of a Brian De Palma kind of feel. It also kind of reminded me of that movie Looker a little bit. It sort of had that vibe a little bit, but I really liked this movie a lot. This was like a great movie. It had really great music in this one. Definitely want to recommend you guys check this one out. This has on here though a newly scanned and restored 4K, newly restored in 4K from the 35mm original camera negative. Has an archival behind the scenes featurette on this one, archival image gallery, a theatrical trailer on this one. It's also the uncut edition of the film as well. All these ones too also have limited edition slipcovers you guys can get if you order from their website. These ones are review copies, so they don't have the slipcovers on them. The next one here is a movie that stars Cliff Robertson, who is in Obsession and Spider-Man. His Uncle Ben, a movie here called Dominique. This is basically though about Cliff Robertson's character, who is really annoying and bothering his wife and giving her all kinds of grief and like problems and everything. And she ends up, killing herself. And, but right after this happens, though, he starts to kind of like having dreams and like feeling like he's seeing her and feeling like he's hearing his wife, and he's like trying to figure out exactly what's going on, and if it's like, was his wife not dead? Is this like someone trying to kind of pull a prank on him, or kind of trying to drive him totally nuts? And it's sort of him trying to figure out exactly what is going on and why is he hearing his wife. And there's some really creepy aspects to this one. This one is from 1978. This one has on here a newly scanned and restored. This one's newly scanned and restored in 2K from its original 35mm negative. It has an audio interview on here with Michael Jaston, as well as an audio interview on here with the assistant director, a theatrical trailer on this one. But another one, a very creepy movie. This one here is a movie called The Suckling, and this is a really crazy, wacky movie. I was in a movie once called Zombie Babies, and I feel like Zombie Babies got inspired by this movie because it was like the similar kind of story. But this is basically though about this like abortion clinic, this couple going for this abortion. She really doesn't want to do this, but she goes in there, and it's this really odd place, and there's all kind of weird people in this abortion the place like where it's like held, and all kind of like prostitutes and all kind of weird wacky characters. But essentially though, it's the baby that gets aborted ends up getting kind of in contact with this toxic waste type substance and kind of coming back to life. There's these really creepy scenes of it coming back to life. It's like really creepy stuff, but essentially though, it's like attacking the people and coming after the people in this abortion clinic building that it's held in. And it's just a really crazy, just trippy, odd movie about this creature, and really fun creature effects in this one. This one is newly scanned and restored in 2K from its 16mm negative. They did a really, really good job cleaning this one up. This one has a video interview on here with the writer and director, video interview with the Michael Gringold, the writer at Fangoria and Rue Morgue, and he played the mature suckling in this one, an archival image gallery as well on this one. And the last one here is from Vinegar Syndrome as well. Just want you guys know that this one is available, and this is a movie here called Fleshpoint on 42nd Street. Keep in mind though, this one is an adult film here. I had to cover up the one thing because there's like just some stuff I definitely cannot show on here. But essentially though, this is about this woman who's a prostitute who's going around sleeping with different guys and everything, and she kind of thinks her life is going to kind of turn around because she meets this one guy who has money and everything. It's essentially though, that's essentially what it is. And this is newly scanned and restored in 4K for its original 16mm negative. It has on here though two different versions of the movie. It has the one version of it in full screen as well as in widescreen, and it has a locations then and now, which is cool to see like the areas of Times Square and everything where this was shot, the exteriors and everything, and see how different they are now. It has on here a commentary track on here with film historians on this one, as well on this one. The next one here is from the Criterion Collection. This is a movie directed by Robert Zemeckis, which I never knew about this movie, and Steven Spielberg was the producer. And this is a movie called, from 1978 called I Want to Hold Your Hand. Also, Eddie Deason is in this movie. Always a fan of Eddie Deason. He's in lots and lots of really fun roles, and he always plays like kind of crazy, wacky characters and everything. This is essentially, though, about a group of these kids that want to... This is around the time when the Beatles are going to be going and performing at the Ed Sullivan Show. And this is right when they're kind of starting to become really popular, like the early Beatles, like when they're getting really big. And it's about a group of these friends that want to go and see the Beatles and go to this show, and see them there, but they don't have any tickets. And it's essentially them trying to figure out how they're going to get into the hotel where the Beatles are staying. And they're trying to figure out any way they can to get close close to the Beatles, and it's kind of them on all these kind of problems and wacky problems that happen along the way about them trying to meet the Beatles. It's a really, really fun movie. Like I said, it's a movie I totally never knew existed. It has on here, though, a brand new 4K digital restoration on here, approved by Robert Zemeckis, as well as co-writer Bob Gale. It has on here a new conversation with Robert Zemeckis, Bob Gale, as well as Steven Spielberg. So that's really cool that this was on here. New interviews on here with Nancy Allen and Mark McClure. Commentary track on here from 2004 on this one, as well as some short films, early short films from Robert Zemeckis, as well as trailer and radio spots. Also has in here this cool like booklet in here that has like kind of like a sign they were holding up to meet the Beatles, and a thing on here about the cast and everything in this one. But like I said, also the disc is like a record. The Blu-ray on here is like a record. The next one here, the director sent over this one. I really love this movie, but it's from Raven Banner. This is the Canadian release, but in the U.S. there's a Blu-ray of this one as well, which is a burn-on-demand Blu-ray. And I believe there's a DVD as well. It's also on like streaming services and everything. It's a movie here called Life Changer, and this one was like a really great movie, and I was watching this too thinking, who was the person narrating? And I didn't realize until the end that it was Bill Oberst Jr., who I always loved. Bill Oberst Jr. is in lots and lots of indie horror films. He's going to be in the new Devil's Rejects 2, 3 from Hell, which I cannot wait to see what his part is in the movie. But essentially though, this is a movie here called, like I said, called Life Changer. This is about this character who goes around and like essentially though, he switches bodies. He basically is you don't know, you have to figure out exactly, you don't know exactly what's going on, but this person like is sort of sickly, and like they start dying, and they can only be in a body for a couple of days, and then they find who they're going to go into the next body, and they have like kind of rules, like they don't want to take the body of somebody that really would be missed, and when he takes over the body too, they know some of their memories and the things from their life and everything, but they go over to them and like grab the person, like suck them, like basically they become like dried up and like die, and then they take their form. This character takes their form, and it's essentially though about them going around and like they basically are real, like I said, sickly, and they only have a certain amount of time in this body, and that person though is also trying to find this one woman that he's always seeing in this bar, and trying to get close to her as well. So that's like one of the things. So he's always meeting this person as this other, throughout other bodies, and they have no clue about any of this, or they have no idea that they're meeting the same person again and again and again, but from these other bodies that the person has taken over. But this is a very, very cool concept, and I also, like I said, I also love the narration that's done, because like Bill Oberst Jr. plays like the narration of the guy that's taking over the bodies and everything. But this one, definitely one you guys have got to watch. This has a commentary track on here with the director, a commentary track on here with some of the actors, I think an hour and 40-minute or so making of on here, like really detailed making of documentary on this one, as well as deleted scenes, theatrical gallery, storyboards. Definitely one, like I said, check out the trailer for this one, guys. 100% worth checking out. The next one here is from MVD. This is called At the Drive-In, which is a pretty cool documentary. It's about in this day and age, there's so few drive-ins left. This is about this drive-in theater and how it's trying to survive, and how, it's basically, because everything went over to digital now, a lot of drive-ins were all, projected films, and this drive-in didn't have the money to do that, so they kind of decided that they're going to be a drive-in where they show like classic movies, and they have like double features on the weekends of like real classic movies and horror nights, and they play like all kind of old school horror movies from like the 70s and 80s and all that, and that's kind of how they're going to survive. And it's about like the theater kind of realizing that they have to go in this different direction. These two guys who came and helped this drive-in and helped them figure out how to book shows and how to like broadcast it on social media and have different kind of events there and everything. And it's all talking about, interviewing the owner of this drive-in and kind of how it's changed throughout the years, and how it's like was, so close to closing, and how, these guys have come in and helped them, and kind of what they're going through. And it has like all kind of interviews with some of the customers that go there. And it's just a really well done documentary. This has on here though deleted scenes, a trailer, a commentary, and a Q&A on this one. The next one here, I want to let you guys know that this one is available from Chemical Burns Entertainment. It's a movie called Toxic Tutu, and I talked about this one a little while back. Just wanted you guys know as well that this one is available. This stars Mark Tugler, who was the star who played Melvin the Mop Boy in the Toxic Avenger film. This is essentially, though, about, kind of where he went and what happened to him, and how he might have actually been exposed to, toxic waste, and he might actually have, like, mutations and things like that. And, the thing that's fun about this one is I actually have a part in this movie because, like, there's a lot of scenes of this set at the convention, and I'm like on like the panel, like this convention panel, talking about like where is Mark Togler and where is he, and is he going to come to this event, and what's happened to him, and all these like rumors about what has happened to him and everything. Lloyd Kaufman is in this movie as well, but like I said, want to let you guys know that this one is available. And the next one here is from Vision Films. It's a movie here starring Rumor Willis and Emma Dumont called What Lies Ahead. This is a crazy movie here. This is essentially, though, about Emma Dumont's character who she's with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend gets called away and has to leave. And originally, though, he's going to take his sister, played by Rumor Willis, and go back to where his hometown was and like help drive with her back to where he lives so she can move closer and everything. But something ends up happening, and she's like, well, he says to his girlfriend, would you mind doing it and taking my sister, going with my sister, going to my hometown and driving back out here with my sister? And she's like, oh, okay, and doesn't know if she really wants to do this and doesn't know her at all or anything. But essentially, though, she realizes, though, that there's something really off about Rumor Willis's character, and she starts like doing really erratic things and like acting really, really strange, and it becomes this absolute nightmare ride, and things start to get worse and worse and worse for what's going on and everything. But I like this movie. This just goes in some really, really crazy directions here. And the next one here is from Wild Eye Releasing. It's a movie here called Countryside. This is basically, though, about this couple who are driving on a cross-country trip to this wedding, and essentially, though, they end up having to stop for the night, and they ask the one place around, like, where should we stop? And they end up going camping out in this one area. But essentially, though, it ends up not being a good thing, and like the boyfriend at night goes missing, and she goes out looking for him, and it's like there's some weird things going on out in the woods. It's essentially, though, about something happening to her, and then people coming after her, and her trying to figure out exactly what had happened to the boyfriend and where he is. And it's like anytime you see a movie where it's like going camping out in the woods, it's never going to be a good thing, and this was no exception. It was a terrible, terrible thing of them going out of these woods, and there's these terrible people out there, and it's just a crazy situation that they get into. The next one here, this is from Trauma. It's a movie called Victor Goodville. This is a really crazy movie as well, and this is also has a great intro from Lloyd Kaufman on this one. That's the one thing I always love on Trauma releases, is I love the opening intros that Lloyd Kaufman does, and some of them just get like crazier and crazier, and this one has one of my favorite ones in a long time. And this is essentially, though, about this guy who is like extremely constipated, and he's like, and his life is a mess, and he's like having no luck with anything, and he's trying to figure out how to kind of turn around his life. At the same time, he's having he's having no bowel movements, having all kinds of problems, and it's like him getting involved in like drugs and all kinds of problems and all kind of weird characters that he comes across and everything. And it's just another really wacky out there film from Trauma. And this one has on here a commentary track on here, deleted scenes, a feature out in the film, like I said, the introduction with Lloyd Kaufman, as well as a theatrical trailer as well on this. And the next ones I got here are from Mill Creek, and they sent over some of their new releases to let you guys know that these ones are available. And these ones here, the first two are their VHS slipcover releases, and I have a bunch of those ones displayed behind me. I really love these ones that are laid out to look like old school VHS rental copies. This one here is a movie called Sheena, which stars Tanya Roberts. I love the way this one has on here this sticker that's all peeled up on the bottom to look like one of the rental stickers that says like action adventure. Has a thing on here, PG parental guidance, Be Kind Rewind, and like I said, it's supposed to look like a tape, and has like the tape's label right here. Look at the back. And this one, I don't believe they've ever put this one out before on Blu-ray. It's a movie here called Songwriter, which stars Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson. And this one, I love how this one is super aged up, like a tape that's really been rented a whole lot. And this is also laid out to look a little bit like those old school like Sony tapes, like I think like Ghostbusters. I remember looking like this, and I don't know. I just really love the way these are laid out. It says like rated R, drama. It has a Be Kind Rewind. Like I said, it's all scratched up here on the tape and everything. I don't know. Like I said, I really love these VHS slipcover ones. Also here, this is a 4-movie collection here, which is 4 thrillers in one collection. This also includes digital copies of them, and I believe these are all Lifetime films that aired on Lifetime. Lifetime, I'm pretty sure. It has, like I said, 4 different movies. It has Status Unknown, A Deadly Affair, Did I Kill My Mother, and Nanny Seduction here. And it's a 2-disc set, so the one disc has, each movie has 2 movies on it. But like I said, just want you guys know that these new releases are available from Mill Creek. The next one here, the director sent over a copy of this one. It's his movie here called Unlisted Owner. This is basically, though, a found footage movie about this house where they had all kinds of problems in it. Like the house, in the very beginning, like this family rented out this house, and it's also, like I said, it's done found footage, so it's like done like the police evidence files of like these 2 different events where bad things happen in this house. So it kind of cuts back and forth between this logo that says like police evidence and goes to one tape, and then goes to police evidence and goes to like other tapes of things that happen in this house. And then essentially, though, this family moves into this house, and early on they end up dying there, and it's about a group of these friends that kind of saw like the bodies being removed from this house, and they're like, oh, looks like a crazy thing that happened here. We got to figure out what happened in this house. So of course, though, they all want to go and sneak into the house and kind of like investigate it, because they heard there was all kind of other bad things that had happened in that house years back as well. So they're like, oh yeah, let's go in there, sneak around at night and see what's going on, and spend the night in this house and see what happens and everything. So it's essentially them going into this house, and then of course it's not a good thing, and like I said, it's all done found footage style with their cameras filming everything, and it's basically just all the kind of crazy stuff that happens to them when they go into this house. This has on here, though, a director's audio commentary track on here, a production outtakes on this one, as well as trailers on this release. The next one here is from Breaking Glass Pictures, and it's a movie here called Devil's Path. This is basically, though, set in this trail out in the woods where men would meet up and stuff for like hookups and everything, and these 2 guys are out there and they're starting talking to each other and everything. But what ends up happening, though, is there's these terrible bad guys out there who are like attacking people, and of course they are targeting them, and it gets the one guy, and then he runs after him and says, these people are after me. It's essentially, though, them out in these woods trying to survive and trying to hide and figure out what they're going to do, and if they can find a way to get take out these guys, and trying to survive throughout the whole thing. And they don't really know where to go or anything, and it just ends up being a horrible situation with them out there. This was actually very, very well done. This one has a commentary track on here, as well as behind the scenes interviews on this. And the last ones here are all from High Octane Pictures. The first one here is a movie called Drowning Echo. This is essentially, though, about this girl who goes to her friend's swimming pool at this apartment complex, and they're out there for this party and everything, and she ends up in the pool feeling like she got attacked by something like attacks her in this pool. Like in the very beginning of this movie too, you see this girl getting attacked in this pool, and her eyes roll back and turn white and everything, so there's something in this pool. And essentially, though, it's her there, and she gets attacked, and then she starts seeing, she gets out and gets away, but then she starts thinking maybe she's crazy or imagining it, and then she starts seeing things when she's sleeping, and visions of things happening. It's essentially her trying to figure out exactly what is going on in this pool, and trying to make sure nothing happens to her friends that are there. And it's just it's a pretty cool, weird concept, like the idea of this all going on in the swimming pool. And this one, the next one here is from High Octane Pictures as well, and it's called Mummy Reborn. It's about this woman who works at this kind of antiques type store, and they have to let her go because they can't afford to pay her anymore, and the place is not doing well business wise, but they have some really, really valuable stuff there, super valuable, and they end up, she's thinking that she could actually go in there with her friends and steal this, some valuable things, and they end up stealing, there's this mummy that's in there as well, this old mummy with this amulet on. But they end up stealing the amulet, the mummy's amulet. And of course, though, this mummy is now coming after them and going after them. And there's this crazy scenes of this mummy attacking people and killing the friends and everything. And they're trying to figure out exactly what they can do to put an end to this mummy and how they can stop this mummy, and and figure out what to do. And it's just a horrible situation. This one has on here, though, behind the scenes on this one, as well as a director's commentary. And the last one here is called, for High Octane Pictures as well, is called Alien Party Crashers. This is basically, though, about, in the past, though, it's these aliens that had come to Earth, and they were kind of weird, like they can kind of travel in time and all these kind of things that they can do, and they have like technology ahead of the time and took these pictures and all these kind of things, and they're like, how did these pictures exist when they're from the future, and all this kind of stuff that's going on. But essentially though, the government believes that they figured out that these aliens are going to be coming back, and they think they know exactly where they're going to be, and they end up coming to this party that's out going on, and it's essentially though, you know, what's going on and them trying to track down and, you know, get these aliens, but yet these aliens are like causing havoc on these kids that are partying, and it's like kind of like it kind of says it's Shaun of the Dead style Battle of the Death, and it definitely has that kind of humor going on in this one about these people kind of not, like, totally not knowing what's going on with these aliens coming after them and everything. It's a really, really fun movie. This one has on here a director's commentary, a cast commentary, deleted scenes, bloopers, as well as a radio spot on this one as well. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching the new video here in the review portion, and like I said, let me know if you guys saw any of these movies, and thanks again for all the support, and I'll see you guys later.